We're out on the Piceance Basin in northwestern Colorado in an area that's called the Piceance-East Douglas Herd Management Area. This is a 190,000 acre area that we manage for the horses. And there's a lot of other multiple uses that go on in this area. There's energy development, we have livestock grazing. It's a big area for wildlife, a lot of deer and elk out here. So we manage so that the horses are in balance with all those uses. Our current estimate for the number of wild horses within the herd management area is about 380. Our ideal population range, what's called the appropriate management level, is between 135 and 235. We have another about 80 horses that have left the area and are outside the area where we want to manage for horses. So we'll go ahead and gather those horses up. And then any adult females that we release we'll treat with a fertility drug that it delays fertility, doesn't hurt the current foal that they may be carrying, and it doesn't sterilize them, it just delays the fertility. So that'll help control the growth rate of the population, which should delay the amount of the frequency that we have to do the gathers.
These big bunch grasses that provide all that forage and all that hiding cover are vulnerable to unmanaged, poorly considered grazing. Now, horses are good travelers. They move very well across the country, and they don't concentrate on one site unduly. They're very good grazers from an ecological perspective in that means. However, if you have too many, they will overuse these sites. It's just a question of managing the total grazing use in order to maintain the vigor and health of these plants.
So you have to have the appropriate number of horses, because you can't get out there and herd them around and move them around. They need to be managed at a level that they can manage themselves, and they're way over that right now.
The conservation districts really do appreciate the wild horses as one of the resources and so forth on the range. But we do believe that we really need to keep the numbers within the AML, the appropriate management level, between 135 and 235. As long as the horses are managed within those numbers, we believe that we can keep that thriving natural ecological balance along with all of the other multiple uses. But if we go out and look on the range and look at some of the watering areas and so forth where the horses have, because of the excess numbers, they have really depleted some of those resources. Colorado does not have the horse numbers, the horse problems that they do in Wyoming and Nevada. We want to make sure that we don't get in that situation. We want to keep a good, thriving ecological balance here, and the only way to do that is to manage the horses.
Gathering wild horses to stay in balance with the other multiple uses is a vital management tool. It helps ensure that the rangelands stay healthy and are sustainable in the future, so that the wild horse herd will have plenty of forage as well as the livestock and wildlife.
Now, only a handful of people own horses, and so there isn't the need for horses like there used to be, and it only stands to reason that as there is less need for the horses, if you don't do something, you get too many. It's just like any other animal population. They have to be managed and controlled. And living here in northwest Colorado, I mean, when we have a bad winter, we see all the dead elk and deer that died because there wasn't enough food, because they had gotten larger numbers. And the same thing would happen to the horses. Comanche here, he's from the East Douglas, and then the other one out there is also from Piceance. So, and then the rest of them are all quarter horses. A lot of people on the Front Range don't even know that Colorado has these herds, and we would like to get them to come out to this part of the state to see the wild horses.
This is actually a really great place to come see wild horses. You can drive the roads and watch for them, and as long as you don't approach them, they're pretty easy to see. These horses, we've done the genetics on them, and they're descendants of domestic North American breeds. So we're looking at horses that either escaped or were released out here over the last 100 years or so. And so they're not native wildlife out here. They're not a natural part of the ecosystem. And the reason that's so important to understand is that there's not a natural predator that effectively controls their numbers. that you would have if they'd been part of this ecosystem all along. So that brings us to the needs for these gathers. We need to put some control on that population before you get to other natural controls, which would be things like starvation and disease.